So you might have seen SEO case studies from me before. This is the first one I'm posting to Digital Assets Lab, but I've run case studies on marketing forums, on SEO forums, on subreddits, and social media Facebook groups and things for a while, and we've tested all sorts of stuff. We've done completely fresh blank domains. We've done automated domains. We've done outsourcing into everything. We've done writing everything ourselves. On and off, I've tested a whole bunch of stuff. I don't actually think I've done a case study on an expired domain before, an aged domain. And I'll be honest, this wasn't my plan with this site. It's just kind of worked out that way. So last year, 2021, I went on a bit of a binge buying websites. We bought some existing established ones, mostly kind of newer-ish starter ones. So they're all maybe a year old or so. They've got some traffic and things, but not a lot of cash flow. We bought some brand new domains that we're building up from scratch. We bought some aged domains that we're building up from scratch. And this was a wee bit different. This domain I bought from a service that builds a site for you. If you've ever, I was about to say if you've ever bought a website, but if you've ever been an adult, you will have heard the term due diligence. Usually you take the time to look into it and you decide whether or not it's a good investment. I actually spent $11,000 on this site, and it was a bit of an impulse buy. You know, like when you're walking at the store and you pick up an extra candy bar, this was that. There's nothing wrong with the service, nothing wrong with the site. The problem is actually the niche. I know nothing about it and I have very little interest in learning. I have a post about this somewhere. I'm not the biggest proponent on working on things you love. If you can, that's a huge benefit. So what's behind me here? We've got some Lego up here. These aren't mine, these are my girlfriend's. We have Lego and we have whiskey. She loves both. She can talk about both. I don't necessarily think this is the best business practice because there's a lot of competition and not much money competing with them. Potentially. I don't actually know whiskey or Lego, but you get my point. Most of my projects, most of the digital assets I do own, I have no real interest in. I'm not interested in the topic, but I pay people who do know what they're talking about. But I'm interested in the business side of things because I can build a funnel, an email list, I can do something with it. This site, I can't really, maybe not really. It's just not something I'm actually interested in. So you can see the chart here. This is our Ahrefs chart for it. That was back in, so it starts there in January, the start of last year. We bought it, I want to say at the end of spring, maybe early summer or something, and it was handed over to us a few months later. So the service did everything. They got the domain, they wrote the content, they did the keyword research, all of this for us, and then they handed it over. And for a while, so you can see on the traffic estimation chart here, this is Ahrefs, so it's not 100% accurate, but the overall trend is about right. You can see it was kind of slowly growing, and I backburned the project. I thought, don't know why I bought that one. What I'll maybe do is I'll leave it sitting for a year or so. We'll maybe hire someone who can do a bit of content for it, and then we'll eventually just flip it because I have no interest in the niche. I can't talk about it myself. Even if I do hire someone who can, I have no interest in working on the monetization, and I don't actually see a lot of potential. So the overall niche it's in is definitely one of the bigger markets. It's going to be a high RPM niche. I would assume. I'm not in it, but there's enough money spent there that I would assume the advertising is good. There's tons of affiliate products you could do. Amazon's an easy one, obviously lots of products, or you know, there'll be tons of smaller ones. But I just didn't have a lot of interest in those products and those markets. It just, I honestly don't know why I bought the domain. Not a clue. But fast forward until a couple of weeks ago, I've started to actively track domains that have high traffic and low authority. Specifically domains that are getting good rankings on Google, so high organic search traffic that don't have a lot of backlinks. So the easiest way to do that is to use external tools like this one, Ahrefs. You've also got Majestic or Moz or whatever you choose. Yes, these are all, sorry, give me 1 wee second. This is only my second coffee for the day, so I'm doing pretty well. These are external tools, these are external metrics. They do not tell the full story, but if you find enough of these getting a lot of traffic and not a lot of authority, you can definitely stumble across some low-hanging fruit. And that was kind of my goal for that project. So I'm kind of tracking those actively, and I like to see what people are doing. And it's a good way to find new niches that kind of haven't established yet. But anyway, this one is one I found a couple of weeks ago, and it just so happened to be in the same niche as the site I bought last year. Aha. It got better from there. So I started to look into it. It's an evergreen niche. They're using a sub niche within that has a lot of keywords you can chase, and they're all top 10 lists or top X lists. So if you've ever been in a competitive SERP for something like this, the higher number doesn't necessarily win, but it certainly helps. So if you ever look at the competitive ones, you'll see sites update over time. They increase that number. So let's say the top 10 signs your boyfriend is cheating on you, right? If I wanted to compete with that, I might do top 11 signs your boyfriend is cheating on you and how to stop it, right? Or my competitor will then update and do the top 12 signs of that. The higher number tends to get a better click-through rate, and that obviously helps your organic rankings. Now, there's more to that story, but in general, if it's a list-based SERP and you can do a higher number, you're going to do pretty well. Not always, but it certainly helps. So what we have here is a site that gets estimated 71,000 hits. I don't think I've ever seen this entirely right. The estimation's obviously all over the place. If you've ever used Ahrefs and compared it to your own stats, it's different. But what tends to be right is definitely the trends. What this is really just showing is this site is ranking for a lot of keywords that, from what it knows, are high volume searches. They get a lot of searches. I don't put a lot of stock in the traffic value. That's an estimation at best for various reasons that we won't get into. But what I see here is fairly low competition, lots of traffic to be had, even with display ads. I think we have some pie in the sky numbers I worked out for this niche. Even at a pretty low RPM, if we get a small chunk of that traffic, because this content is also pretty easy or cheap to produce, like I have no interest in talking about the niche of the topic. I'm not an authority, but these top 10 lists are very easy to produce, very quick. There's kind of no reason not to compete here. So what I do with any SEO project is I always start with monetization. I like to know that I can make money with a project. So we get affiliate offers, or with this one, we'll probably start with display ads just because it'll be easy, and I think the RPM will be enough to make it worthwhile. And just the nature of the search traffic we're chasing. We then get a list of topics. So usually it'll be the overall niche might be finance, and underneath that we'll get stocks or crypto or property investment or whatever it is, digital assets, I then want to break, so if I'm in one of these sub niches, I want to break it down a wee bit further so I can talk about those. Luckily, the service did all that for us, so this site already has a bit of topical relevance in the topic we're going for. So that's already done for us. So the last step is just to figure out which keywords we're going to chase. Now, luckily, Ahrefs also shows us the keywords these guys here rank for. So all we did was go through and take all of the ones they have rankings for. So our domain, it doesn't have their traffic yet, but it has a lot more authority. It has topical relevance already, it has a lot more backlinks. And yeah, we basically wind up with this chart here. So We bought it back in January 21. About halfway into that chart is probably when we, sorry, no, we didn't buy it in January. We bought it maybe spring, end of spring, start of summer. You can kind of see it's kind of slowly growing. You can see a bit of growth there towards just before the real spike. That's when I started to prepare the site for this project. We took off some of the thin affiliate links that had been there. We added a wee bit of interlinking, and then the crazy exponential growth you see there. We did about the traffic went 15 times the size in the space of I think a week and a half, 2 weeks maybe, and that was when we started publishing content. So that was when we just published, I want to say maybe 10 posts or so. I'll be honest, this video is actually getting filmed a couple of days later. We have published more content since then, and the growth has been even higher than that. It's going almost vertical. We'll update and we'll kind of go over what we're doing and how we're doing it and the kind of growth we're getting. But so far it's working. Now, if you've been in SEO for any amount of time, if you're on SEO forums, if you're finding me through Reddit or even just on YouTube SEO content there, you'll get a lot of common knowledge that says things like, you can't index your site until you have at least 10 articles, or you can only publish 1 article a day, or whatever. There's a lot of information floating around out there that just isn't based on any case studies or actual, I want to say fact, like evidence. So when it comes to publishing content, I think there is something to be said for content velocity, and I do have another case study that we're about to start, which definitely suggests something there. And if you're publishing a lot of content quickly, you might get a benefit from that, but what you definitely get the benefit from is the sooner you publish an article, the sooner it starts to get indexed, sooner it starts to get ranked. I think the general accepted term, obviously it varies, but generally it can take anywhere from 6 months to a year for an article to really reach, like if you do nothing else but wait, if you publish articles on an existing site and just wait 6 to 12 months, that article is most likely going to improve because it just takes time for that to happen. So this is still an SEO case study. I don't expect to see huge results overnight, although currently we're seeing maybe the biggest growth I've seen on a project in a while for organic traffic, certainly. And the goal kind of is to just scale up this content production. So that was maybe 10 posts. I think since then we've posted another, I want to say 20. We'll start tracking numbers when it actually comes to the updates. But the goal is bully this lower authority site, and then we have a list of other sites that are somewhat similar, and then we'll start going looking for our own keywords after that once we've kind of established that it's working. I'll be honest, after this kind of growth, that already tells me that it's working. A lot of the content we've published already, some of it is indexed and goes straight to the first page. Some of it's on page 2. We've already got some in the top 3 on Google, and it's been maybe a week ish, maybe 10 days, I think. So it's definitely working. The content is easy to produce. And if you've made it this far into the video, I'll tell you this, it's not a niche I intend to stick around with. I have no interest in it. Even if that growth continues and it makes money, I have no heart and soul in it at all. And that's true of a lot of projects I work on, but this one, I don't care. So the goal is outsource the content just now. We'll get ads on it fairly soon if this growth continues. We will then take the money it makes from those ads and roll it into more content. We'll maybe chase some affiliate keywords or something. You tend to find, especially over the last year or so, this kind of started a little bit further. It maybe started 18 months ago, but it's certainly becoming more the case. If you just have thin buyer guides and affiliate content on your site, it doesn't do too well. Because we're publishing a lot of info-based content here, we could probably post some good affiliate content as well, and that'll probably make a good return. Again, this niche, there's loads of low competition affiliate stuff we can chase, but we will probably either reveal this website and we'll just use it as a case study. This is what you do, this is the traffic you get, or we'll stick it on Flippa which will also mean a reveal because you guys will be able to see it. Because I don't want to keep it. Pardon me. It's not an interesting topic for me, and it's never going to be. So other than the Donald Duck GIF, that's basically it. We have found potential low competition niche. We found lots of traffic. We found content that we can produce quickly, easily, outsourced cheaply, and I'm completely bored by it already, but it's potentially going to work. And if we get that kind of growth, we get another asset and a cool case study about how expired domains work. We'll maybe get more into the kind of the technical side of things, like how that domain was set up. I didn't do it, the agency handled it for me, but I can kind of show you what they've done. And we'll look at how much content we're producing, the kind of growth we're getting, yada, yada, yada. So I might post this case study around the place. One sec. I might post this case study around the place. We'll put it on subreddits and marketing forums that might be interested here on the site if you find it on YouTube. If you're interested to see how this site goes, follow along, comment any questions. I'm not going to give the site away right away, so don't ask what the site is, because I just don't want people screwing with the metrics. But we'll probably get it a wee bit established. We'll maybe reveal it then, and then we'll kind of continue to grow or whatever we do. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope it's an SEO case study. I don't expect overnight results, but if we keep getting this kind of growth, we'll get some interesting results fairly soon.